Well, good evening. I see there's already a crowd. This is great. I'm Dennis, and this is DJ's Classic Garage, and this is my weekly little discussion on all things cars and things in the news, things that are happening to me, things with the old cars, things of that. Yes, returning to Garage Talk episode 6, Return of the Jedi. That's why I'm doing it. We're gonna stop at that because there are actually only 6 Star Wars movies, and we all know there's only 6. So there's that. So this is I've just had I've had an interesting week. I wouldn't say it's great. It's just been interesting. I haven't put out a video because my program CapCut has been temperamental, and it won't. It's been holding back on letting me really upload videos or download videos so I can upload them. So I've had a whole fight here. And of course, I did not know that CapCut was owned by the same company as TikTok. So yeah. So I have very offshore technical support on this. So it's been really, really great. Um yeah, so that's what's actually going on right now. So today I have a few different little things I want to talk about. The first thing is there is a sudden rush to building V8s, and they are not coming from Stellantis. Well, well, figures, but this is actually kind of fascinating because we have here a little bigger. We have here the Genesis, that's part of Hyundai. Genesis has new twin turbo V8. Here's what it looks like. They are building this engine for Le Mans, and they're going to race in Le Mans. Probably not this year because, well, the race is like a month away. But you don't usually build a V8 like this, um, without having any plans to putting it into some sort of road car. So it's kind of fascinating that Hyundai is spending a lot of money building a 3.2 liter, which could also be up to a 4 liter, which would actually be very useful in a road car V8 engine. So I think that we're kind of turning the wheel here a little bit. We're turning to where we're going to start having like normal stuff again because the other thing that's happening, and I can't see comments right now, Mercedes is getting a new V8. This is the first V8 they've built in a long time. So they're building a new V8 for their AMG performance models. Now, right now, the C class, they're saying it's not going to be in it, but they may actually make a CLE 63, which is like how BMW M cars end up having a what do you call that? Oh my god, my mind just went blank. Having a extra performance version that you know is just a little bit more, and that's what I think Mercedes is going to be doing here with this. Because before they had 12-cylinder engines, which were freaking psychotic. But I think that the 12 cylinders kind of passed the regular 12 and the W12 from Volkswagen, which is a really weird engine, and the Bentley W12. Those are very weird looking engines because they're shaped like a W. It's the way the cylinders are lined in there. It's really weird. Oh, that's terrible, Benjamin. I'm not even going to put that on the screen. So most other manufacturers don't use V8s. Like Ferrari uses a V8, Aston Martin uses a V8, Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, all these things. So there is some hope for performance cars coming into our lives in the near future, even if they're not, American. Stellantis is still supposedly bringing back, the ancient Hemi V8. The news has kind of stopped on that, though. I haven't heard a thing about the Hemi Charger V8 for a while now. All I heard was the ridiculous stop in a minute. Aston Martin, another dream ride. Oh my god. An Aston Martin is pure sex. Honest to God, that car literally is sex incarnate. There's something about an Aston Martin that just is like, wow. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it. It's just wow. It is a really, really well. And the thing is, it's a super well built car. The process they have at the end of the line to make sure that car is up to snuff is amazing. Like show cars couldn't pass um, the the level of scrutiny they give the paint. Like literally, there can't be any defects in the paint. It has to be like glass. So that is pretty amazing. Benjamin, he feels the same way about a 73 Dodge Dart. That's just great. Good lord. I don't even wanna good lord. So yeah, um, this is actually really great news. At least, that there's hope. I mean, because Ford and General Motors actually came out with a new V8 earlier in the year, new small block, and to take over from the LS, I believe it's just a crate motor, but still, it is a new engine. Ford, of course, has the Coyote, it has the Godzilla. They've been all out. They have a 7.3-liter engine that's just an absolute animal. It is in the F250 and the F350s, and it is a utter beast. It actually has diesel level torque, and people have been able to put them into Mustangs. Yeah, so that sounds like fun. So that's basically like a 429 in a Mustang body. That is pure fun. That's enjoyable. I like this type of stuff. So, oh, Dave Grohl is an Aston Martin. Well, thought, good. He has some taste. So, the other thing I noticed this week because they came out, and this is called the oh god, go away, the the Visual Capitalist, right? The Visual Capitalist is a really neat website. They show stuff in graphs because everybody likes to look at graphs. So this is the most reliable used cars. See that. My first husband had a 1970 fastback Mustang. Why'd you get rid of him? He had some taste in cars, at least. Uh, let's see. Benjamin, are those V8s any more efficient than they used to be? Absolutely. Uh, I could go a little sidetrack here. Any engine, any modern engine that is not using turbochargers to get power added is going to be 20%, 30% more efficient than an engine was. I'm covering myself with the moose. Is going to be 20 to 30% more efficient than a V8 built in 1970. And one of the bigger reasons is fuel injection. Fuel injection, on power basis, doesn't really make more power than a carburetor. What a fuel injection does, though, is that it can actually adjust the fuel flow and the mixture constantly and keep the engine perfectly running at 13.7, you know, air to fuel ratio. It keeps it really in that tight band. And, a new Mustang GT can get 20 something miles to the gallon. I mean, granted, you could get like a, 6 speed in it, but even in the old, like, the car's making that much horsepower, like let's say a 440, even a 3D3, a 400, a 402. Honestly, on the highway, if you got mid double digits, you were doing incredible. And that's being very well tuned, with the best spark setup you could put in the car, with the best tune on your carburetor, with best tires you could put on it, just everything working properly on that car. And you're just not going to do that. But now you can go buy a Corvette and they have 600 horsepower, and you can drive and down the highway and get 25 miles a gallon without even trying. I mean, it is pretty freaking amazing the amount of power you can get for out of a V8 at this time and how much efficiency it actually has. A Coyote is incredibly efficient. It's incredibly efficient for as much power as it has. I mean, we're north of 400 horsepower, and that's actually net horsepower. It's not gross. It's not done at the flywheel. That's done at the rear wheels. That's 400 horsepower, and and they test it now with accessories. So that's like 500 old school horsepower, and that's what's truly amazing about what they've done with cars. And yeah, so the efficiency is way, 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 way better than it used to be, and it's just due to the way that they finally figured out how to use fuel injection. Which I actually am probably going to do a video on this on how the EPA and the government coming in the early 70s actually set cars back at least 15 years. If you remember the cars from the mid to late 70s, they were garbage. There was nothing good about them. There was a few bright spots here and there, but most of the stuff was junk. And a lot of that had to do with the EPA forcing rules on auto manufacturers they weren't ready for, because an auto manufacturer takes just to get a regular car into production, it takes 3 to 4 years. It literally is that long a time frame when you're building something new. Same thing with an engine. Most engines is 3 to 4 years from start to finish. And when you start going and having to have new rules that are going to come into effect less than a year or two down the line, yeah, it really set everything back. It wasn't until the mid 80s that the manufacturers started actually, everyone except Chrysler, because they were a disaster, uh, figured out how to get fuel injection working in cars and start having a basic kind of computer to actually make it run decently. So that's actually something I'm kind of working on right now, because it's fascinating if you really see how we got to this point. It's actually kind of sad how we got from these cars that were just absolute beast in 1971, even in 72, a little bit in 73, but off the edge in 74, to where we till cars actually started getting fast again in the late 80s. That dead zone, that's like a 15-year dead zone. It's sad. I mean, really, the only thing is, for the most part, even in the mid 70s, it is still better than today. It's still better than today, because if you bought a Corvette in 78, it was a pig. It had 150 horsepower. I could outrun it with everything I have in my garage. I could outrun that car. And but you can, if you had some money, you could just go and buy another engine, throw it in the car, and drive off with it, because that's what you could do in the 70s. Not like now, you can't do a damn thing because you're stuck with the engine that's in the car. You could add to it, but you can't ever change it. So that's kind of one of those things. So let's go back to this beautiful uh, venture, the visual capitalist. So the funny thing is, we all figured who's going to be on top of it. Of course, it's Lexus, Toyota. Mazda's actually number 3. Honda's number 4. Acura is number 5. The first American car is Buick. The car that is basically designed for China is the highest ranked American car, Buick. And then we have Volvo, which is owned by a Chinese company. Subaru, which is owned by Toyota. I actually can't see what that is. Nissan is at number 8. Good Lord. But there's Cadillac at number 10, which is actually pretty impressive. Then Mercedes, BMW, we're starting to get into the poopy area. There's the good old Tesla at number 15. And those people are pretty kind. They're kind to their cars, and they're kind because it's the cult. But then here's Ram trucks tied with Ford. But holding up the bottom, as usual, Chrysler with their minivan and their 300, Jeep with, well, and Dodge. There, and of course, there's Mini, which really is just a BMW. So there we go. There now, yeah, Chevy is a middling for. I mean, honestly, if you're middling in the around the 40 is that means, and basically what that is that especially with Ford and Chevy is that some models are better than others, and they have good ones and they have really really bad ones, and that kind of is the way American manufacturers are. Unfortunately, Stellantis American manufacturing just has all bad ones. They're junk. So there's that. Uh, yes, Buick, the car Tiger Wood drives. Yeah, yes, Auto About Al. Like I said, Chevy and Ford suffer from having, cheap car lines in their car line. And when they do a cheap car, it's a cheap car. And it's something you probably should never own. Yes, and the Les Barus, yes, the Les Barus. Um, they actually rank very high because hey, because they do 69 all the way down the road. There we go. Number 8, look at number 9 in the top 10. Yeah, Autobot Out is a Chevy guy. Yes, I mean for every good vehicle they make, they will. Good lord, they will just make something really terrible. It's just the way it is. They have that with the Chevy Trax. Yeah, that's not a good vehicle. Uh, all you have is my current car is a 2019 Chevy Cruze. All I get are Chevys. That's funny. I've never owned a General Motors product in my entire life. Never. I've never owned one ever. I not even through marriage, nowhere. I've never owned a General Motors product. It's pretty amazing. But I've never owned a Japanese car either. So there's that. But I've never owned a General Motors car. I refuse to. Jamie, now I stare into Subarus. He may have a point. Yes, Sue M. Yes. Yes, Benjamin. I've never owned a Chevy or a Japanese car. That is absolutely correct. I've owned a lot of cars. I've never owned one of those. Never owned one of those. I'm not Vintage 76. Hey, how you doing? No, I'm not surprised Tesla's 15. I'm actually surprised it's that high. They've never had great build quality. Honestly, they really don't. I mean, they're neat. I mean, there is technology in there. With technology comes problems. But I mean, I've seen fit and finish on those cars that I would be embarrassed on an economy car. So there's that. Benjamin, I've had Chevy, Chrysler, and Ford's never a foreign car. Whoa, interesting. Ah. Oh, really? So yeah, so this is where we are right now on used cars. This is like if you're looking for something that is, was it 10 years old? I think it is. Not like it's like 2015 or 2013 to, yeah, 2015 to 2020. So 10 to 5-year-old cars, which, are still incredibly expensive. So, oh, it's the Autobot Owl. The only foreign car I did own was a Honda. It is a foreign car. It's a Honda Accord. It's actually a Honda Accord, very good car. It was much better when you used to be able to get the V6 in them, because it was a good amount of power, very efficient, always a lot of gizmos because it's Honda. They Honda like gizmos, unlike Toyota. Is a Ragyu foreign? Yes, a Ragyu is a Nissan Rogue. Yes, and actually, I remember when they had the promotion for Star Wars where they did the Rogue One. Oh, my cat is choking me. Oh my god, my cat is choking me. Oh. Yes, Puzzle is making an appearance tonight because, well, she felt lonely. Vintage 76 Garage never bought a car from the big three. Oh, I mean, you've missed out on some decent cars. They've made a lot of crappy cars, but they've made some decent cars. I mean, there are some gems in that pile of poo. Yes, Autobattle, yes, the Rogue One version of Rogue was hella cool. Yes, it was. The commercials actually were very, very good. Great advertising on that. Some of the best advertising for a car, even though it was a Nissan. So I kind of had this thing against Nissan because they're just basically French cars wrapped in Japanese. Yes, Puzzle is always a pleasant surprise. She was very much standoffish on our other podcast where she didn't want to come out. I don't understand it. Where she just didn't want to bother. I guess it was just too much. The fame was too much for her. Yes, and plus it came with a stormtrooper helmet. Absolutely. So yeah. Now I'm gonna have to go, and I had to take a few minutes because I just can't make a long form video on this. But good lord, let's take a second here and go into the fire, the dumpster fire that is uh, Stellantis. I can't even understand this company anymore. I don't think they know what they're doing. They spent all this money and time making these appliances, and they're already getting rid of the cheap one. Think about this for a second. They're not getting rid of the expensive EV. They are getting rid of the base electric appliance. So the only charger appliance you could buy next year will be $80,000. $80,000. I mean, they sell tens of these every week. So I can't even imagine, how this is going to hurt the demand for this car. I mean, it is right now there are 3,500 RTs sitting on lots. So with the current sales rate, that would probably be like over a year's supply of these cars. This is actually incredibly embarrassing. I mean, I can't even believe what a disaster this has become. Trigger warning. Yeah, I know. As soon as it goes to Stellantis, slowly I turn, step by step. Um, yeah. So this is going to be the only thing they're going to have left is this car, and it is the high priced one. Um, of course, they just kind of dumped this in the in I'm getting strangled here by my cat. They dumped this, in the days of where you don't really see any news for cars. So it's just kind of like, in the dead time of May, which is really not a time that you really are looking at car information. So this is so if I think that finally they're getting the memo that the EV dream is dead, and hopefully maybe they'll actually come around and realize, just like I don't know, BMW and Mercedes have, that this is not really a good strategy. It's not a great plan. Yes, 80,000 is insane, and honestly, and that is just it's really not with a lot of options in it. And then if you want any performance, see, because here's the rub when you get an electric appliance. When you get an electric appliance, you can't just go modify it yourself. You have to go to them, the dealer, and pay them, the dealer, for this upgrade in software or whatever, or battery parts, and it's usually thousands of dollars. And if you do anything, it can void the warranty. And if you don't have a warranty on this thing, you have a very, very expensive paperweight. It is amazing. I mean, it is amazingly bad. All right, Benjamin, the people who have that kind of money are never going to buy a Dodge over the hundred of choices for the same price at better companies. Yes. Well, you know what Stellantis made another incredibly stupid move, and they finally admitted to it this year. They made the Grand Wagoneer a Jeep. It was a Jeep, and they made the Grand Wagoneer, and it was $110,000 for a Grand Wagoneer. This is a Jeep. This is literally a place where you go in, and people buy Wranglers and they bring them into the dealership, and you get treated like Jeep level, care, and you spend as much as somebody would have spent on a Lincoln Navigator or an Escalade, and you literally have a vehicle that is a Jeep, and they are selling like ice blocks in Antarctica. So yeah. Oh, hi, Larry Mondello shoes. No, I run earlier than gunk time. Remember, I'm not 17%. So a joke about Monique and her back. She did her DNA. Um, Someone in my town bought a new charger. Couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah, I can't believe it either. I haven't seen one yet. I literally have not seen one. And I mean, I drive around a lot around here. And I mean, I go into Tampa. I'm around Tampa. I drive up and down 75. I mean, I spot cars. It's like a hobby of mine, and I haven't seen one yet. And I mean, I've seen 6 Hornets. I drove cross country. I saw 6 Hornets now. 6. And that thing sold 20,000 last year, and I've seen 6. So, and I'm a car guy. I mean, car guys pick up on cars because that's what we do. I mean, it's like, oh my God, wow, look at that. No, I haven't seen one yet. I may have to walk on over to the nearest Stellantis dealership and see if I can take one of these things out. Maybe let's see if I can film it. I doubt it because I have a feeling that they don't even want them to leave the lot at this point. Yeah, it would stand out. I mean, unfortunately, it's garbage wrapped in a beautiful box. I mean, that's literally what it is. It's garbage wrapped in a beautiful box. It's literally like the mid-70s Corvettes, beautiful on the outside, but my God, what a piece of trash. So it's just kinda sad. Oh, good question here from Jamie. When is the best time to buy a new car deal-wise? Now, that's a very good question. It depends. It depends. Do your research on the model you want. I mean, you really need to be focused on that model. Now, if you wanna just buy one off the lot, you wait till June, June or July, because the new model year comes out in September. And whatever, yeah, you start June, July, and kind of get a little, no wuzzle. You get a little feel for, you set yourself up with one of the guys there, one of the salesmen, and then you look at a car below, and you just kind of wait. You have to be patient. If you're not patient, this doesn't work. You need to be able to walk away. But as the summer goes on, if that car is sitting there, they need to move it. American car companies end up paying interest. They start paying on that car after it's been there for, I think it's 30 days. It's been a long time since I sold cars, but it's like 30 or 45 days. Then they start paying on it. European manufacturers own the car. European dealers own that car. They don't do the, buy on consignment. You own the car. So a BMW dealership, if they have like the 3 Series, that's in a weird color or whatever, and it's on that lot, they own it. And if that thing's sitting there for like 5 months, they are really losing money on it because they basically borrowed to get it. And now they're going to be absolutely, begging you to take the car. And literally though, later in the year is better. Near the end of the month is also really good because they have to make numbers. Every car dealership has to make a number. It's just part of the game. Every salesman has to make a number. And if you go later in the month, you can really sit there and hammer and also get a demo. My F-150 was a demo. I don't know who the heck ordered this demo with a tow package, the tow mirrors, the longer bed, the screw, the super crew, the ramps in it. They went crazy ordering this thing, and it was, it's a big truck, and that truck originally it was 20. I bought it almost in 2017, so it was the end of 2016. So the 17s were already coming up, but they were late, and this thing's sitting in there. So I got $15,000 off the sticker. It had 4,000 miles on it. I got 15 grand off the sticker and a couple oil changes. So I mean, and then I literally, I was there for like 5 hours, even though they had already marked it down like 10 grand. I said that was still wasn't enough, so I got another five. And I even had them throw the ramps in for free. They actually took that off the price. It was $600. They took it off. So you have to really kind of, and I bought it in November. So it's kind of coming up at the end of that year, and you just really need to, but you need to be a little bit of a prick. You can't, you can use different techniques, but you can't give. You could be polite, but you can't give. So you have to really go. Yeah, no, I don't think so. And just get up, and because especially if they need the sale. So, and yes, vintage 76 garage, a Stellantis. Oh yes, there are plenty of them available. If you walk on a Stellantis, this is why I want to probably go try to drive that Charger. If you walk on there a lot, you'll probably get tackled. I mean, you know how bad it usually is when you go into a new car dealership. I couldn't fathom. I mean, they're starving. I mean, they're like, hey, come over here. I can help you. I help you. Heck, they would probably buy you lunch if they even seem like you're interested in anything that they have on their lot. Yeah, that's yes, that's right. I worked them hard. You also have to walk in with a file like your defense. Yes. Oh yeah. I the thing is, like, I was looking for F-150s, and because I was looking for F-150s, I knew everything about F-150s. I knew all the packages, I knew all the things about them, and though I didn't have a file with me because I was kind of just on a whim was out there, but I had everything on my phone, and I would like this is this much and this is this much, and it's like, oh, and I had all the 17s that were getting to come in. They had like 40 17s coming in like the next week. So they were running out of um they were running out of those. Okay. They were just running out of time. So yeah. All right. Oh, what about Al? Oh my favorite company besides Stellantis. Dennis, what do you think of Carvana and those car vending machines? That is a company. I don't know how it's still in business. And it's nothing to do with the vending machine. Vending machine's cute. I guess it's cute. I guess aimed at women. But honestly, this is a company that forgets to get titles to cars. People have bought cars without titles. I knew someone personally that bought a car, literally bought the car. And then they said, okay, well, it'll be there on Thursday. Okay, it'll be there on Saturday. Oh, okay, it'll be there on Tuesday. Oh, okay, it'll be there on Thursday. They kept on stalling her. And she was an attorney, and she literally just fired them up. And they finally admitted, we really don't have the car. They literally sold the car without it existing. I mean, it is absolutely God. Benjamin is killing me in the comments right now. Absolutely, utterly killing me in the comments. I my God. My God, he's killing me in the comments. But yeah, so Carvana is a very sketchy company. The other big one is AutoNation. Now, now is it AutoNation? No, CarMax. God, AutoNation is now they own all these different things. CarMax, their supply of cars mainly come from rental car companies. So here's the thing. With them, yes, the car would be maintained, but it depends on the type of car, how badly it was beaten. Because I don't know about you, but when I get a rental car, I take liberties with it that you don't see. Um, I may drive it a little bit hard, a lot bit hard actually. Yeah, actually, I had a. It's funny. talking about rental cars and CarMax. I rented a Chevy Impala in 2004 and out in Las Vegas, and we drove up to Mount Charleston in it. And Mount Charleston's tall; it's like 14,000 feet, and we went up it in the thing, and it was okay. Yeah, V6 in it was not bad. I didn't think about coming down, so we came down the thing, and it really didn't have a good gearing in it to slow the car down by itself. Um, and as I was going down the mountain, we were only halfway down, and it's steep, and I'm trying not to use the brakes, but I am, and the brakes start like vibrating violently, and we're only halfway down. And I mean, I did everything I could not to sit on them. That thing had the worst brake cooling I've ever seen in any modern car. Literally, I warped the brakes coming down that mountain. And I was trying to do 20 miles an hour going down because there is really no guardrails. I mean, it's kind of scary. And yeah, so there I was, like, with wife in tow, and my steering wheel is shaking because I can't keep this car slowed down. And I mean, I'm bringing it down to second gear, and the motor's just like screaming, and I'm like, yeah, we got a problem. And there's a puzzle. Yeah, so there's that. Um, so lesson there is, if you're gonna go up a mountain, rent like an SUV. It would have a better chance of being able to go down the hill. Yeah, very much so. Oh man. So, you know, it's just really weird right now that the way way everything's going with with cars is that we don't know what's going to be happening because this is something that is kind of out there. It's an older story, but it kind of it literally there's an unknown with this because they say they're putting a stop to the fuel economy standards, but we haven't seen anything in concrete with cafe. Haven't seen anything with pollution. Haven't seen anything. I mean, I've heard rollback on diesels, where you can actually get rid of the depth needing in them, the extra catalyst which ruins diesels. But they literally said they were going to do this. This is from January, and I haven't seen anything about cafe, which is corporate average fuel economy. And the funny thing is, I actually did a video on this somewhere. I forgot, it was a while ago, about how it absolutely just absolutely destroys, and this is whole part of that 70s thing. I'm gonna have to kind of revisit it because the cafe was put in 77 and it quickly went up. I mean, quickly. It went from like 17 miles to the gallon average to I think like 24 in like 4 years. So that's why the cars, especially the end of the 70s, got really bad because of that. Oh dear God. All about oh my God. Do you have any happy stories? My ex-girlfriend got a car cheap because the previous owner, oh my God, ended himself in it. Carbon monoxide in the good Lord. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I wouldn't. I would have never bought that car. I'm so superstitious. That car. Nope. All right. I am so bad that at the junkyard, when you see a car, with like a cover on the front of it, like it's almost like a blanket, but it's like the plastic. That means someone died in that accident. Like literally, the car, like somebody died in that accident. And there's been cars where I needed stuff. I looked at that, like, I'm not getting something off this car. No, this car has been in a fatal accident, and yeah, it's been a fatal accident. I'm not buying anything off this car. It could sit because that's just not no bad mojo. I believe in bad mojo. Um, yeah, no, I don't care. I don't care how cheap the car was. Somebody aced themselves in there. That's more than no. That's a no. Oh my god. Larry Mondello shoes. He always has good ones. Like 3,500 at the dealer, getting the diesel regeneration system replaced after they stripped the NOx sensor. Oh my god. Oh, and I bet that is incredibly expensive on their dime because that stuff is not cheap. I mean, that's got to be at least 3 to 4 grand out of their pocket. Congratulations. My god, that is terrible. Yes, and Jamie does agree. F that with the car. Okay. Vintage 76 garage. I've noticed that cars from the big three have undersized brakes, rotors, drums, brakes compared to foreign cars with the same weight. Yes. And it kind of goes down to cost cutting and it goes down to just enough. Most unless you buy like a truck that is, specific for towing, because towing is rated on brakes more than and brakes and frame more than engine, because most engines can tow anything, but it's brakes and frame. But the cars, oh my god, my EXP had, I think it was 9-inch disc up front. I mean, literally 9-inch disc up front, and it had 9-inch drums in the back. I mean, it wasn't a heavy car, but high stops from high speed, you got like two, and then you had nothing. And that really wasn't the way it was for American manufacturers until fuel economy came along. Because remember, the smaller the brake, the less the drag. So when you have less drag, you get slightly better fuel economy. So there is the story of the undersized brakes. Larry Mandelo's shoes, $6,500. Holy crap. I can't believe they actually submitted out a warranty. They broke it. It wasn't like you broke it or it broke itself. They stripped it. Oh, I have a feeling that the General Motors is gonna go, wait a minute. How'd this happen? Yeah, no. Yes, yes, Benjamin. I'm not buying the Amityville Horror House anytime soon. Absolutely not. Oh, good lord, I am so superstitious. It's not funny. Oh no. All About Al still has more to the story about the passed away person's car that his ex-girlfriend bought cheap. Hard pass. I think we all know it. Everybody in the chat, right? We know enough. We know enough now. I think we know enough on this. I'm actually scared to learn anymore. I kind of really don't. I'm kind of nervous actually. Yeah, I yeah, no. Yeah, that's really no. Yeah, Sue M, hard pass. Yeah, that's a pass. Yeah, that's pass in capital letters. Yeah, everybody's kind of like, yeah, no, no. Oh God, good movie. Yeah, I have never seen Amityville Horror. Don't think I ever will. It's just not my kind of movie. It's just nah. I'm too superstitious to actually be able to watch it. I know it's kind of bizarre, but I just can't. It's really not a it's not a good thing. It's like, yeah, that's just like how I won't own a red car ever. I can't buy a red car. Just no. Yes, I have seen Christine. Everybody has to see Christine. I actually I like his books and I like the movies. So there's that. So yeah, Christine, of course, because it's a Plymouth. Why not? An evil Plymouth, because yes. And it's an ugly Plymouth, which we've gone over how ugly the Plymouths were at that time period. Great stuff. Why? Superstition. It's really silly. I always feel that red cars are cars that attract problems. A lot of people have it with green cars they will never own. I've owned two. two green cars. Never had a problem with them. Um, but I just have a thing against red cars. I can't. I literally can't. I have two blue cars right now, a gray one and a gold one. Yeah, there's no red cars. I can't. Black cars, that's in Florida, that's a tough sell. Granted, air conditioning is great. Yes, Sue they are magnets, red cars. They really are. You know, I'll drive my nice blue car and not get noticed. You know, or my gray truck and not get noticed. Yeah, it's magnet color. They call it magnet. It's kind of it's sparkly. It's sparkly black. Oh, actually, yes, Vintage 76 Garage. Red paint is not cheap. Actually, the most expensive paint you can buy for a non-exotic car is Mazda Red. Mazda Red. Mazda Red is over, last time I checked, it's like $1,200 a gallon. I mean, seriously, it is one of the most, that candy apple red that Mazda has is $1,200 a gallon. Last time I checked, it may actually maybe more now, maybe 1,600. It is psychotically expensive. That's why if you own one of those cars and it gets hit real bad with that paint, it could get totaled just because of the paint job will cost like 10 grand. Yeah. Yep. That's right, Larry Mondello. Ticket me red. My other thing I always say with red cars is retail red. When you go to a consignment shop, I need a little water. When you go to a consignment shop and you see these cars there, if one's painted red, I scrutinize that car because I know that car was put together to be sold. Unless it was originally a red car, if it was not originally a red car, somebody is covering up something by making the car shiny and bright and standing out. That's literally where you go. You know, yes, you can't keep black cars clean either. Yeah, I've had one black car. My EXP was black. Oh my god! I mean, literally, I would clean it, and like that afternoon, it looked horrible. And I'm like, I give up. I literally, I'm like, no matter what I did to it, I could never keep it clean. That's correct. Notice he drinks water when he discusses cars. He drinks alcohol when he discusses Howard Stern. Absolutely talking about the other podcast. Yes, because see, one thing I actually really love, one thing I loathe. Take a guess which. I love cars. Yeah. So one last kind of thing I want to go on is and a lot of people out there, you know, they're looking into old cars, and the old car market is very weird right now. And I have a couple of examples here. It's kind of weird. First, Haggerty, if you haven't, oh, boo with your, no, I'm not going to accept them. I'll just get rid of the advertising. Thank you. A collector car market is now flat. So basically what they're saying, and this is like an average of like, they have like moving averages of different types of cars, you know, high-end cars or the average, like 100 most popular cars. And so this is like the 100 most popular. And if you noticed, it has come down from the 2022 highs. And that's been really reflected very much. Oh, Vintage 76 Garage. I missed it. Yes, I started with that. All right. Wait, hold on. Just for you, I will summarize. Genesis Hyundai is making a V8 that's shockingly enough 3.5 liters that can go to 4 liters for Le Mans. But the thing is, the size that they're making it and the reason they're spending so much money, it's not just for racing. They're obviously developing for their cars, probably a Halo car, because I've read in other things that they're actually going to probably make a high-end performance car in the Genesis line, to like the Acura NSX. And the other thing is Mercedes is making a new V8 that's going to go into its AMG cars. and probably into the C-Class, even though the C-Class 63 now has a 4-cylinder, which is comically bad. But no, they're actually going to probably make a CLE 63, and they'll probably put that in there. So that's it. That's kind of summarized. Start the show over. I just summarized it for him. Okay. So let's get back to this. So, all right. So what we have here is that right now, the price of old cars is actually kind of going. Go, don't apologize. It's fine. I just summarized it. We're good. You can always watch it on replay multiple times, 50 times if you like. That'd be great. Start the beginning. In fact, everybody go turn this on every day for the next 3 weeks and just leave it on in the background and put it on a repeat. Thank you very much. Okay. I got to earn some money. So I'm going to show you, though, what is happening in the market. A really brief here because this is Mecum. This is from Mecum Auctions, okay? And this is a Super B with some very questionable choices on it. Now, I subscribe to Mecum. Actually, make sure that I actually am logged in because if I'm not, then I can't see it. No, I'm not. Hold on. Let me go fix that so I can actually show you this because it's actually very fascinating what has happened in Mecum is really a place where that is known for selling Chrysler products. Okay. That is, if you want a Chrysler, that's where you go. If you want to sell a Chrysler, that's where you go. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it's just a place to find them. And usually they're pretty good. So this is a 69 Super B hardtop. This is the same color the one my uncle had that I had was sitting in my baby seat. That's right. I got taken around in a muscle car. Yes, my password is yes, it is Mopar Mania 60. Mopar Man 69. So now this Super B did not sell. Okay. Now, I mean, granted, it did things. It's a 383 4-speed car. I think it's a real one. But, what happened is that like maybe 10 years, maybe 5, 6 years ago, this would have sold easily because of the questionable interior. I mean, this interior is horrible. I mean, this is as bad as it can get for just an interior. And then we get to the trunk, which is an absolute abomination. I mean, that's the trunk of the car. And it is just really poorly done. The underside of the car is meh at best. It's not great. It's okay. And they have like a weird QA1 suspension on it. Really strange stuff. But here's the crux of this. This car didn't sell. And he had a reserve at $85,000. And literally 6 years ago, he would have gotten $100,000 for this car. Even though it's 383, just because of the upgrades to it and all. That was the thing, and it was hot back then. But now, not so much. Sue M, it's huge, and area park it. Sue, it's the same size as my Charger, and I actually parallel park my Charger. Not that bad. These cars are really easy to see in, even easier than my Charger because all that glass, you can see all 4 corners of this car. It's really not that hard to park. Yeah. Yeah, it's a brown they had, and there's actually one of the promo pictures for the 69 Charger is in this color. This is one of the best browns Chrysler. It's like bronze, one of the best browns they've made in Chrysler ever. It's really, really in the sun. It looks phenomenal, very, very deep. It's a little darker than burnt orange. It's in the brown fit. Burnt orange is a little more orangey. It's a lot more orangey. You easily see over the front. Because I mean you sit pretty high in that car, and there's no surprise. Now it's not like a Superbird, because I'll even show that here because I've driven these, and you want to talk about not being able to see over the front? Okay, this is the car you cannot see the nose on this car. when you're sitting in it. I'll pick a nice one. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, here we go. There's a nice slime one. A nice slime. I'll show the slime green one. Here we go. Okay. So now you want to talk about not seeing over the front. Um, that's what we got here. We got not being able to see over the front. There is 2 feet of nose cone that ends right at where you can see. You can't see any of that front piece at all. It literally does not exist when you're driving the car, and it makes it really, really hard to judge at lights because you have 2 feet you don't see because you could see about up to here. You can see right about up to here when you're sitting in the seat. And then you have the wing in the back, which looks like somebody's always sitting on the trunk. It's actually kind of disturbing. It's really, really disturbing. It's a freaky car, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, blind spots. Oh, absolutely. Oh, it is not as bad as my Charger. My Charger actually has the worst blind spots of any car I've ever driven outside of like a 71, 72 Mustang because those are atrocious. But the Charger's real bad. I can't see anything past um I can't see anything past here. And I have really good peripheral vision, but the back window's so small, I can't see anything. And then you have the long tunnel roof and the back window that lays like this. And literally the rearward vision in that car is atrocious. I can't back that car into any spots. Oh, hi, Ed Rooney. I missed the beginning. It's okay. It'll be on replay. You can watch it 5, 15 times you like. Keep it on replay in your house. That'd be great. It's okay. It's fine. I don't like the wing, but the front looks cool. On the Superbird? Well, I mean, this car was built for NASCAR. It was a response to get Richard Petty back, and it was actually based on a Roadrunner, but it had Coronet front fenders on it. And the wing was there to stabilize it at 200 miles an hour because they tried it on the Charger 500 in early 69, and the car was atrocious at the super speedways because the back end would get light and they had no way to keep it down. So they put the nose cone on and then they put the wing on the back, and modern aerodynamics was then created. So there's that. So yeah, so there's your Superbird. So so that car that Super Bee didn't sell. So here's another one. This car I am befuddled by. This is a 1970 Charger 383 automatic air conditioning car, and I think the air conditioning works. Look at this car. I mean, it has some day 2 stuff on it, but it's a nice looking car. It's white. It appears to be very nicely done, except for the interior, which is barf green, but you can look past that's power windows, air conditioning, tick tock tack. I mean, this car is very, very nice. The engine compartment looks very nice. There's the air conditioning that is charged. This car didn't sell at Mecum. It did not sell. It got up to $49,000, which is cheap money for a Charger. For a Charger, this is a bargain. I mean, honestly, 49 grand for a running big block Charger is absolutely unreal, and the car did not sell. And honestly, if somebody restored this car, I don't think they did though. I'm hoping they didn't because honestly, at 50 grand, you're not making your money back on this. You're getting killed. Oh, no, Chargers are B. That's a B body. That's a mid-sized car. It's 208 inches long. It's a mid-sized car. The C bodies were 220 inches long. So yeah, looks like an anteater. That's the open grill they had in 70 because it was a one-off year. They were supposed to make my style car and there was a strike. So they made the Challenger and Cuda instead. So they kind of had to throw these together because they just didn't have cars. So yeah, Chrysler. Let's see. This is old called Mustangs only sold 14,000 this year so far. Nobody has any money. Well, I think with the Mustangs and especially new cars, there's two things that are really hurting that car. And it's nothing to do with the car itself. It really doesn't. The price, interest rates, and insurance. I mean, it's the same thing that killed muscle cars in 1970, 71. It's the same thing that's doing it now because the insurance part of it, especially uh, the when you look at the new Mustang, I mean, it is an animal. It is probably the best Mustang ever built by far, not even a contest. But a good one is over 50,000. Now you're paying 7% interest. 7% interest on that. And if you get it down, you say you have $30,000 nut on it, but still 7% interest. It gets pretty expensive really fast. And then the insurance, I know in Florida, like me, middle-aged me, that car would cost me almost 3 grand a year, maybe more. I have no tickets, no nothing on my knock on wood, nothing, completely clean. It would cost me 3 grand a year. It's completely unaffordable, and that's really what hurts it. Um, and that's really what's hurting those cars. It's just too much. Oh, we're on the Charger. All right, so that car has hidden headlights. This was a great feature back up through the early '80s, I guess. There's two doors up in the front on this car. My Charger's the same way, right here. And there's an electric motor on this year. 17 up, I use electric motor, and it rotates them up, and the lights are behind there. It's really a neat system. Gave the car a nice look during the day. It was one of the really great styling things of of the 60s and 70s because that's when it really 60s when it started. Let's see. Ed Rooney in California, minivan cost me almost 3 grand a year, and I have nothing on my record. And I'm about holy Jesus, a minivan! Holy mackerel! There is see, and here. Oh my God, I could probably go into a whole thing on insurance companies, but we have an insurance problem in this country. We really do. It's not just Florida, which has really bad insurance problems because of really bad laws and just and actually national laws, because a lot of it has to do with interstate commerce. But dear God, a minivan? That's psychotic. Oh my God. Let's see. Are dealerships still doing insane markups? Sideways 117 asks. Also, insurance is buying your data from auto manufacturers and jacking up your rates. Yes. No, they learned their lesson in the very hard way. Uh, right after the whole lockdown thing, the whole overreach, as I like to call it. The they tried to do that, and what happened is that they burnt a lot of people. And you got to remember, this is a few years ago, and all of a sudden their sales, the market started getting flooded with cars, and Stellantis was one of the worst. Dodge dealerships and Jeep dealerships and Ram were absolutely horrible at ripping people off. They loved ripping people off, and their sales suffered. As soon as there was a glut of vehicles, they couldn't move any iron. They couldn't move any tin. And it was really not a good thing for them to do. It was really bad. The insurance, the data stuff is just mind numbing to me. It actually scares the hell out of me at this point. I know that Stellantis and GM are really bad. Stellantis flat out said they're going to sell your information, flat out from their infotainment center. And I don't know if that ever got rectified. And GM was going to do the same thing. Good stuff. I love this modern era. Not really. Uh, let's see. Oh my God, Ed Rooney wants an Astrovan. Oh my God, I love those things. I don't know where you're gonna find one. I haven't seen one of those in years. That had that had the 3.8 in it, 3.86. That was a real. I mean, I think it had 3.86. Really, that's a really good engine. It's actually probably one of the best engines General Motors ever built because they used that engine forever. And yeah, but I haven't seen one of those in a really long time. And I mean, I look for anything, especially something like that. It's just weird. I haven't seen one. So yeah, uh, yeah. It's just weird. There are actually certain models of car you don't see. Like, all right, is the last time anyone out there has seen a 19, you know, like a late 70s Thunderbird? The big, the big nose, the 400 in it, like 78, 79, 77, 78, 79. When's the last time anybody's actually seen one of those? I haven't. I haven't seen one of those. And they built a million of those. They literally built a million of those. It was the most popular Thunderbird ever made. And yet I can't find one. They're all gone. It's kind of bizarre. It's so weird. So, yeah, stuff just disappears, and then one day, all of a sudden, somebody will have there's a whole, like, field of those things, and it's like somebody has 100 of them for sale. Go figure. So, I'm gonna oh god, cat, no. Oh, yeah, my cat keeps on trying to choke me to death with my earphones. It's great. It's awesome. I can thank Monique for these. They're really great, but unfortunately they have a cord. I'd like to be in cordless before. This literally, my cat has actually pulled my head straight down to the desk. It's been awesome. It's good stuff. So the one last thing I want to go with, and showing on the collector market, this is like we're in for at least a recession in collector cars. I mean, we're gonna finally get to the point where something's got to give, especially on the top end, because it can't keep going this way. It really, it's not healthy the way that the prices ramped up from 2017 to 2022. It's unhealthy, and there's no. And a big thing, it was loans, because you can make loans on old cars. And I did a video on why the price of old cars is so high, and that's one of them. And uh oh, okay, here we go. Let's see. Last time I saw a late 70s T-Bird, I was in high school, mid 90s. Yeah. Those Thunderbirds will probably all crushed like a lot of the station wagons. Yeah, it's a shame because they weren't a bad car, except when it rained. Yes, Ed Rooney, yes, they see they're bringing back the Yugo. Dear God, what Fiat are they basing it on this time? Because I, I I just remember the original ones were terrible. Yes, sideways on 17. They're not investments. Nothing. All right, and this is me, finance hat on. Okay, nothing that you have to maintain is an investment. Your car is not an investment. Okay, your house is not an investment. No house is an investment. It really, because you have to fix it, you have to maintain it. It's not an investment. Anything that costs you money to maintain it is not an investment. You know, your baseball cards, yeah, that could be an investment. It's gambling, but it could be an investment. You know, because stocks, bonds, gold, silver, copper, these things, you don't have to maintain them. You don't have to do anything to them. You just own them, and they are land, because land is an investment. A building is not, especially a house. Like a commercial building is an investment, but a house is not. It's just a totally different way to look at it. And cars definitely are not investments. Anything that needs constant maintenance, and the whole thing about value on high end cars is the mileage. And what the hell good is a car if you can't drive it? Um, Jamie, I remember watching something a while back about classic Mustangs being dangerous. Something about fires in the trunk, common after accidents. All right, Ford. See, the Pinto was not the first car that Ford did the gas tank like that, where the gas tank was back behind the axle and really not protected by anything. In those classic Mustangs, the floor of the trunk is the gas tank. It isn't a separate unit. It is in the floor of the car. Uh, and honestly, because of that, when you got rear-ended in that car, yes, it could easily catch fire. It was bad. I mean, not Pinto bad, but pretty bad. I wouldn't want to be hitting one of those cars. I'm not a fan of that first generation Mustang, just because I know that Ford did a lot of stuff on the cheap on that car, and that was one of them. The way that gas tank is located is not optimal, and it really, because on my Charger, yeah, it's not the greatest, but my Charger the gas tank sits really low, um, very, very low in my car, and it's wedge shaped, so the fat part's way up by the rear axle, and and honestly, because of that, the car has some protection in the back from actually having the gas tank get ruptured. There's a lot of structure behind, the around that gas tank, and it's actually suspended under the car. So I mean, honestly, if worse comes worse, it would cake and just break and fall down, because then it won't have a problem. Yeah, Jeeps had the same issue, gas issue. Yeah, and anything where they put that gas tank very far back and put it into the actual vehicle, yeah, it's actually kind of scary. Well, the Fiero, oh, I actually, my friend had a Fiero, and we worked at the same place, and we used to drive it 40 miles to work across the Howard Franklin Bridge. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Florida. This is a really scary bridge. It's long, and people drive really fast on it. And here we are in a first generation Fiero where my feet were literally behind the headlight. And all I kept on thinking about was that car catching fire. Um, or something breaking on it or whatever, because it was the first one, it was the Iron Duke one, so at least the engine wouldn't blow up, just didn't have any power. But honestly, everything about that car is like, you literally go past to a sedan, and honestly, you looking up at it like a Grand Marquis, you'd actually be looking up at it going, wow, that's a tall car. Yeah, not my favorite. So yeah, it was kind of terrible. Yes, the Mustang is the secretary's car. Absolutely. 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 That's why they came in pretty colors. So, last thing. All right. So, everybody knows, what a Hemi is out there, right? Okay. So, my God, there's a Hemi Charger for sale at Mecum, right? And I said Mecum is the place for Chryslers. And this car isn't the best. You can see right there, the hood isn't very lined up very well, right? And it's a 4-speed, one of 468 produced. It's a low production car. $47,000 to stop. Did not sell. A Hemi car that did not sell. And this is kind of like, I mean, first of all, the first generation Chargers, most people don't like them. I'm not a fan. It's kind of a weird looking car. It looks very old manish, you know, and I'm not a fan, but it's still a Hemi car. It's still a 4-speed. And I just set off my Google. I don't know why. Don't know how. I mean, it's not a bad car, but then when you look at it, it has like lots of problems. It's a very rough car. There's no rust on it, and it's a natural red car. So okay, it wasn't, and it hasn't. Doesn't look like it's repainted or it's been bad, but it's really rough. Things are just kind of, this rug's dirty. All the chrome trim is kind of crappy. Everything looks, the knobs are missing from the radio. Very, mid car. I would say this is probably, like a 3 on the scale 1 to 5. 1 to 5, 5 to 1. It's a 3, right? So, and Ed Rudy rather have a Marlin. Yeah, you go find one. Yes, 50 grand for a Hemi car, and it didn't sell. This car did not sell. That's what I'm talking about. This is a Hemi car. It's a real Hemi car. It's a 4-speed Hemi car, and nobody bought it. I mean, it needs help. But if you look here, if you go into the current values, this car, like I said, it was a number 3. A number 3 car is like 62 grand. And that's an automatic transmission car. 4-speed. You're actually probably looking at a little bit more on this than, than a actual, stick, stick shift. It's the stick shift would probably bring a few grand more. This car barely was over number 4 condition car, which is a pretty rough car, and it isn't that rough. The car needs help, but I mean, I would imagine I could take this car and drive it, so, and not have any issues, but this is just kinda where we are. Yeah, it says it runs in, sideways 117, it says it runs and drives, but I think we're at that point now where, 5 years ago, granted, it's still never a big thing, but 5 years ago, they woulda got 80 grand for this car. I honestly 5 years ago, they woulda got 5, 6 years, well, before 2020, they probably got 80 grand for this car, 90 grand. Even in the condition it's in, they would have gotten, you know, near that number of 80,000 because it's a Hemi car, and it's a low production car, and it's a four-speed car. Needing help, but, this is where we are right now. They, almost 50,000 to paint. Yeah, almost. Actually, that to paint that car would cost, if you I mean, God, if you're lucky and don't need body work, it'd cost $25,000. So there's that. And the interior and stuff. I mean, you're talking that car probably needs four. See, here's why I probably didn't sell it. It needs probably $30,000 to $40,000 worth of work to be a show car. So there's, but it's still a Hemi car. Sideways 117. Could it be some of it being the fact baby boomers are passing? Yes, that is a part. That is a part of it. There's a couple of angles to it, but that's one of the parts. As the baby boomers go and they're starting to liquidate their stuff, because their hobbies change, whatever. You're gonna start seeing a glut of cars. I've started to notice this already. And if you go to auctions now, it's weird. What is actually getting hot is is like foreign cars. Stuff that is BMWs, Porsches, uh the older Japanese, the right-hand drive Japanese. I mean, those cars are hot now because that's my generation. That's Gen X's cars. We didn't really have muscle cars. I mean, we knew they existed. We kind of still have a love for them, but we never got to buy them new. We're too young. I mean, I was I was born at the end of the muscle car era completely, and it's a big part of it. But, there are still people my age that want the cars. It's just that, we're at the point where I think that the pricing has gotten to the point where it's a little too crazy, and people are kind of looking at different avenues, I guess, because yeah, the investment part of it is done. I think so. A vintage 76 garage, if it was 68, 69, it would sell. Actually, what's funny is that 68 Charger is the only Mopar from 68 that still garners the same amount of money as a 69. If you ever go look on an auction site, and you can sign up for free, a 68 Roadrunner will never ever get the money a 69 Roadrunner gets. It just won't. They're the same car. The only difference is the grille and the graphics. The Roadrunner got color in 69. That's the only difference between the two cars. Literally, there's nothing else different on the cars. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, it would have, as a 68, 69, yeah, with a Hemi, yeah, it would, even in that condition, it would have gotten six figures all day long. It would have gotten six figures. It would have gotten like 110. Like I said, that first generation Charger really is a tough sell. It's a super tough sell. It's a weird looking car, but not in a good way. And it's just hard to put a finger on why it's just not. It just looks old. It really does look like a relic from the early 60s that they dressed up, and it looks like it can't handle, looks like it can't stop. It looks like it just doesn't look like a fun car to drive. So, uh, Rust-free cars in New York rust a lot. Yes, that is a rust-free car. From my understanding, it is a rust-free car. It's just rough. Yeah, New York. Oh, trust me, I know that. Oh my dear God. Actually, we had when I grew up there, and we had a '76 Volare, and those were bad to start with, but literally with we the first winter, we had to bring it back for the wear the rust through warranty on fenders and the trunk. It rotted away in 6 months. Yeah, let's see. Agree. The first gen Charger, yeah, if it's a '76 garage. The first gen Charger is just not a car anybody wants. They're so cool, but gun to head, I wouldn't take one. I really wouldn't. It's just it just doesn't appeal to me, especially the 66. 66 has a single master cylinder in it. So you'd have to convert it to a dual master cylinder so you don't like die if you lose a brake line. Because yeah, that's a thing. I that car still had a single master on it. I would never let anyone if I work on a car and you have a single on there, you're converting it to a dual. Because I can't in good conscience let you go down the road with the ability that if you lose one brake line, you have no brakes. This is not good. It's not good at all. Yeah. So that I mean it's very and a lot of and you got to remember a lot of old cars is it's not only just condition but and rarity because there are a lot of rare old cars that have no value. It's also desirability and yeah, that car doesn't have any. Let's see. My mom had a '73 Caprice Classic, and the trunk totally rusted away. Yeah. Oh, there. As you got into the '70s, the quality control. Got to remember, you were entering a massive recession. The quality control disappeared. I mean, literally, that's what gave American cars their really horrible reputation. Is the early mid '70s, actually the '70s period. I mean, you talk about ruining your reputation. They did. It wasn't their fault. So yeah, and I actually, like I said, I've been writing down do a little retrospective of that whole time frame because it's really messed up. The whole the whole 1970 and forward, like 71 and forward, it gets really weird and kind of it's not good for cars. It's actually really I'm surprised any of the auto manufacturers survived the '70s because it was that bad. Having lived through it, it was as bad as people say it was, if not worse. It was. I remember waiting in gas lines as a baby, sitting in the car, little kid, waiting in gas lines, and then waiting in gas lines again later because it happened twice. It happened twice in the '70s. They had gas lines. So yeah, no, that was not great. Rip AMC. AMC, that was, and you could blame Romney, Papa Romney, not the senator, his dad. He helped destroy AMC. AMC was a neat company, but they never had enough cash, and and the other problem is that they never built cars to last because they never rust proofed the backside of their steel, so it would rot from the inside out. So yeah, it's a shame. And then when the Chrysler bought them, dear God, that was the end of that. See, he has an AMC era Cherokee. You have actually one of the good ones. That has that nice inline. Does it have the inline six in it? Because that thing's indestructible. Um, Sideways 117. So when do you think the cars recovered from the '70s? 80. Honestly, it's what Ford actually was the guiding light at that point for American cars. 83, 84 is when you just started. They started coming out with cars that were interesting. They actually got decent fuel economy. They actually got faster. They weren't slugs. They're comfortable. they started having the comfort you were getting in your Japanese cars, because like, if you bought a Cressida, a Toyota Cressida, it was a comfortable car. Toyota learned how to slap a lot of stuff from General Motors into cars and make them comfortable and then reliable. Ford kind of started figuring that out in the early 80s. Like that first Thunderbird, literally that was a smash. They sold so many of the Aerobirds, and yeah, it was truly a wonderful time to be alive. I remember, when the Mustang GT came out in 84, because it came out with a roller engine, and it was the first American car since like 1973 to run into 14 seconds in a quarter mile. I mean, now of course, family sedans run that, but this was a big deal back then. So Ed Rooney has a 360. Ooh, nice. So it has tons of power, but you pass everything except the gas station. But I mean, that is a bulletproof 360 in that. It is a really, really, and it has a 727 behind it probably, which means your whole drivetrain is indestructible. Really, really cool. That's super cool. Yeah. So yeah, it's getting weirder. On the old car and the new car front, it's getting kind of strange, and we'll see what the next week will bring. Hopefully, I'll have some videos done. Good Lord, I hope I can get CapCut to actually start working, because it's just been a nightmare. Let's see. Well, that's true. I drove from Anaheim to Fresno and stopped at every gas station just to be safe, and never trust a gas gauge. That thing had to get like 10 or 11 miles to the gallon. It had to. My God. AMC Javelin, vintage 76 garage. Actually, yeah, the Javelin was a really cool car. It did a lot of things well. It just it was kind of weird. Actually, I saw one at cruising last Saturday. And it's a weird looking car, but they put a lot of performance in that weird looking car. And it actually had a long enough wheelbase. Actually, not a bad riding car either. So, yes, the Sideways 117 says Ed Rooney, it's smiles per gallon. Yes. Because I had a friend in the BMW club that he had one of those he had a Grand Cherokee, a Grand Wagoneer, like the early, like the mid 70s ones from AMC, the really big ones and all, and 4-wheel drive and all. He used to go to New Hampshire. He said he literally in the wintertime driving that thing in the snow, he's getting 6 miles to the gallon with that thing. Just he was fine with it. He had the money and all, and he was like, but he also knew he was never going to get stuck. But he was like, yeah, that thing would kill you. It had it had like a 30-gallon tank, and you would just like, yeah, and that was only when gas was like $1 something a gallon, so it wasn't terrible. But yeah, it was hard. Yeah, hopefully we'll have gas like fall back down to $2 soon. Please, dear God, I keep on reading all this nonsense. Tired of seeing over $3. I actually bought gas in the charge today. It was almost $4 a gallon. I almost vomited. I remember buying gas for 98 cents for that car. I can't. Was there a car that ever could survive New York winters? I don't think there is such a creature. New York winters, especially in the city, are ungodly brutal because they salt the roads. There's literally nothing that could survive that. It's horrible unless your car is made of stainless steel. All the way. Checker checker cab. They were tough, but come on. That New York salt and slush just absolutely could eat a car up bad. It was no, absolutely not. Even though my '89 BMW did come from Buffalo, New York, and there's not an ounce of rust on the car. And it's an undercoated car, but there's not an ounce of rust on it. It's a solid, solid car. Had one little I had well, and it wasn't nothing to do with the road. I had one where I had a little rust spot from where the battery had let go in the trunk, because they put batteries in the trunk, and it caused a little damage. I fixed it, and that was it. That's the only ick on that car. Weird. Any checker cars down in Florida? No, I have not seen a checker cab. Jeez, I can't even remember the last time I saw one. I really, and I mean, they're so identifiable, and I haven't seen one in probably a decade, easily a decade. So yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. This was great. Wait, Uber sideways 170. Uber. I think Uber and Lyft got to them. Yeah. Uber and Lyft destroyed the cab business, but the cab business destroyed the cab business. So, Jamie, they don't make cars with exterior paneling anymore. No, no, they don't. The last ones were probably the Chryslers, because the minivans, they I remember they had wood paneling on the side of those things. That was, and the Grand Marquis wagons had it for a long time. God, what a horrible thing to know. Let's see, Larry Mondello's shoes. I use 3,500 for plowing in Jersey. Hose off the salt after. Yes, you have to hose it off. You have to. We actually used to have a car wash in Staten Island. My mom would run through it in the wintertime. I mean, they had stuff so the water wouldn't freeze, so it was pretty good. But yeah. So yeah, but all right, Benjamin, tell your friends. Tell your friends I have a car channel and it's fun. It's fun stuff. Interesting stuff. You learn little different things about cars and how I struggle owning a car, owning multiple cars. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. I really enjoyed this. If you missed any of it, it's on replay. Even if you didn't miss it, it's going to be on replay. Just put it on in the background and just leave it on. Play it all week if you like. That'd be nice. Yeah, I like the I gotta pay for my habit. So be very honest about this. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And remember, I'll say it again, but I'll say it, if you have an old car, something cool, take it out. You'll make someone's day, probably your own. And I will catch everyone very, very soon. If you liked what you saw, subscribe. If you didn't, thank you for watching to this point. And as always, if you have a cool car or something fun to drive, take it out. You'll make someone's day, probably your own.